Sandy Cowan was a part of the formation of this starting last fall because we exchanged many emails about it. And she was looking forward to this morning with trepidation and skepticism. It is really sweet to me that you guys are here today. Some things to be aware of. As we've mentioned, the 12 minor prophets are at the end of the Old Testament, following the book of Daniel. We will be taking them and you will be learning them, not in the order that they are in the Bible, but in the order that more recent scholarship believes that they were actually written, from about 800 to 400 BC. And I will provide you some dates along the way in case you, like me, are one of those people that really need to hang your hats on specific times. There will be copies available on the piano afterwards if you would like to check out anything I may not have made clear. So I need to teach you your chorus, which you will do 9 or 10 times during the rap. The words are listed in your bulletin, and I will teach you the appropriate rhythm now, one line at a time. So I will say it and you will repeat it back. Hosea, Amos, Micah, and Joel.
Hosea, Amos, Micah, and Joel.
Out there trying to save Israel's soul.
Out there trying to save Israel's soul.
Obadiah, Jonah, Nahum, and Habakkuk.
Obadiah, Jonah, Nahum, and Habakkuk.
Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi.
Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi.
Dave is here to help too. Now let's do the whole thing. Ready? Go.
Hosea, Amos, Micah, and Joel. Out there trying to save Israel's soul. Obadiah, Jonah, Nahum, and Habakkuk. Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi.
Okay. Here we go.
Hosea, Amos, Micah, and Joel. Out there trying to save Israel's soul. Obadiah, Jonah, Nahum, and Habakkuk. Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi.
Hosea, Amos, Micah, and Joel. Out there trying to save Israel's soul. Obadiah, Jonah, who was swallowed whole, watched while Israel made God's covenant null.
Hosea, Amos, Micah, and Joel, out there trying to save Israel's soul. Obadiah, Jonah, Nahum, and Habakkuk. Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi.
We are the minor prophets who speak not in many chapters. Not for us are the prophets of Isaiah and his adapters. Jeremiah and Ezekiel yammering on in lengthy tomes, lamenting that Yahweh would let Israelites lose their homes.
Hosea, Amos, Micah, and Joel, out there trying to save Israel's soul. Obadiah, Jonah, Nahum, and Habakkuk. Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi.
Hosea, Amos, Micah, and Joel. Hosea played politics with the sins of Israel, speaking words of judgment, loss, and vitriol. Faithlessness to Yahweh was criminal and serial, according to Hosea, whose condemning wasn't trivial. But Hosea's wife was a symbol of idolatry, wearing fancy jewelry and practicing adultery, symbolic of the treachery of Israel's infidelity. Those folks lived lives of ribaldry, basking in their perfidy.
Hosea, Amos, Micah, and Joel, out there trying to save Israel's soul. Obadiah, Jonah, Nahum, Nahum and Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi.
750 BC, and quiet reigned in the kingdom above and the kingdom below. I am no prophet or prophet's son, said Amos, who saw corruption flow.
Below.
For 3 transgressions of various places, the Lord roared against their vacuous spaces. Let justice roll down like waters, said Amos, the shepherd whose criticism augurs the wandering of his people out of the faith, the harbinger of woe, waiting at the gate. Righteousness like an ever-flowing stream? In whose frenetic apocalyptic dream? Authentic worship should focus on God, insisted Amos and his prophetic squad. Beating swords into plowshares, a pretty idea, though no one does it. Micah and Joel additionally said it, though Isaiah always gets the credit. And Micah's on our wall. Pretty words by the choir, too, considering all. But with all of that, something is missing. How he warned Israel of a giant hissing.
Hosanna, Amos, Micah, and Joel, out there trying to save Israel's soul. Obadiah, Jonah, Nahum, and Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi.
Such weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth, lamenting, bemoaning, bewailing in the streets. But Micah also spoke words of peace and promised God's condemnation would someday cease. He will feed his flock, he told. I will set them together like sheep in a fold. Rise and thresh, O daughter of Zion, refresh the flesh of Israel's lion. And Joel took up the cry, urging repentance, citing locusts, crop failings, and starvation remembrance. In words and phrases that echo the Psalms, he calls down calamity, but also the Lord who calms. Your old men shall dream dreams, which Peter in the book of Acts streams. Your young men shall see visions, and the Holy Spirit collisions. For all these dudes, an important date was the 586 BC exile, Israel's fate. When was Joel reporting? Nobody knows. When was Joel imploring? Nobody knows. When was Joel discoursing? Nobody knows. When was Joel deploring?
Nobody knows.
800 BC is one learned guess, but after the exile gets some press.
Hosea, Amos, Micah, and Joel, out there trying to save Israel's soul. Obadiah, Jonah, Nahum, and Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi.
Obadiah. Die, Obadiah. Behold, I will make you small among the nations, says to Edom's pagans. Behold, his vision is only 21 verses. Is there any Bible book with fewer curses? Obadiah. Die, you Edom pariah. One thing he says which catches my eye, the golden rule reversed. Why? Why? As you have done, it shall be done to you. Sounds like a threat you spew. Boo-hoo. Obadiah. Now, Jonah the book tells an interesting story, how Jonah the guy wasn't covered with glory, though God dispatched him to a terrible place. You can't blame Jonah for making the case that Spain would be nicer than showing his face in Nineveh, oh, a city so base. You don't need to buy that silly shtick about Jonah being vomited by a Moby Dick to appreciate the message that God will show care. God will play fair. God will be there. The sinner he'll spare, his mercy to share. In the existing view, this kindness was rare. Israel considered that it was special, but Jonah's tale then caused them to wrestle with a new view of light and a new use of might by the God who ruled over day and night. Here ends the major minor prophets. So let's review.
Hosea, Amos, Micah, and Joel, out there trying to save Israel's soul. Obadiah, Jonah, Nahum, and Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi.
Now, Nahum was a colorful writer, ferocious backbiter, attacking Nineveh like a much brighter fighter. Locusts, grasshoppers, fire, sword. Reading this book, you won't be bored. Oh, Nineveh, man your ramparts. Watch the road. Gird your loins. Protect your abode. Plunder the silver. Plunder the gold. You'll end up cast out into the cold. The gates of your land welcome your foes. Out of your fortress, your army goes. Out of your fortress to meet its fate from the Lord of hosts. He flattens your walls, topples your posts, mocks your boasts, makes you toast from coast to coast, lightning and chariots and piles of bodies. Nahum sure dug Assyria's follies. The Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. Buried at the end of the second chapter of Habakkuk, this is more reassuring than any of Nahum's gobbledygook. Following upon it is his chapter 3 psalm. They're so very calm, a soothing balm. But chapter 2, verse 4, there's where theology spins. Paul's precept of the righteous, living by faith begins, picked up by Luther, who adopted the thought that faith was a gift of God, not bought by works or battles one fought or miracles wrought. And it started with Habakkuk.
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 Why does violence rule where there should be justice? So asked Habakkuk, and the Lord was speechless until he responded with a lengthy warning against those whose evil was a warning.
Hosea, Amos, Micah, and Joel, out there trying to save Israel's soul. Obadiah, Jonah, Nahum, and Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi.
Zephaniah is next in our minor prophet chronology. Of the traditional flood and rainbow knowledge, he apparently did not appreciate the irony of his reporting the Lord's plans to cut short everyone's lifespans, to sweep everything away from the face of the earth, to destroy all in his path of any worth. Said Zephaniah, quoting the Lord, "That terrible day is near when I will come with the sword, the villainous to be gored, their blood on the battlements poured. Woe to everyone from Judah from here." Zephaniah, whose book is last in the Bible alphabetically, ends in rays of hope aesthetically. Cheer up, rejoice, and do not fear, O Israel. Is that a joyous choir I hear?
Hosea, Amos, Micah, and Joel, out there trying to save Israel's soul. Obadiah, Jonah, Nahum, and Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi.
9 prophets down and 3 to go, in case you haven't counted or don't care to know. Zechariah and Haggai we'll consider together and knock off 2 as one, however. Around 520 BC they both arose to promise and threaten and speak and bulldoze the Jews into temple restoration as a foundation for their recovered nation. Haggai prodded the infrastructure, while Zech decried the Jews' faith rupture. Together they handled the bricks and mortar and came to grips with the spiritual order. Haggai chastised Zerubbabel's people for lagging in efforts to finish the temple. Zech, in his very long-winded epistle, painted pictures and dreams and visions abysmal, which remarkably echo the book of Revelation in the horses and lamps and a scroll fixation. Zechariah showed the good Lord picturing Israel's enemies quivering and withering, but also noted the Jews dithering over proper worship and feast day malingering. Some images I personally just couldn't pass. 30 pieces of silver and a king on an ass. But the ending of their prophetic scripts find praise for the Lord on the people's lips. The temple rebuilt, all foes in eclipse. Malachi, we're finally there. The last of the minors, 400s BC, we're aware. Once again careless in worship and practice, honestly, can these people not distract us with yet another litany, the threads of sin a symphony? I suppose we could have some sympathy if they weren't so consumed with villainy, their turning from God a proclivity, for citing their wrongs with fake timidity. Shall stand indeed, we say, when comes that fateful judgment day. Malachi ends the Old Testament tomes as I end this series of poems, reminding us that there is hope, and there it is, the great Christian trope.
Hope.
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 The great Christian trope.
Hosea, Amos, Micah, and Joel, out there trying to save Israel's soul. Obadiah, Jonah, Nahum, and Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi.
Hosea, Amos,
Micah and Joel, out there trying to save Israel's soul. Obadiah, Jonah, Nahum and Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi.